Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Can you start by introducing yourselves and tell us what you want us to know about you?
Go ahead, Tisha.
Hi. Well, I can start. My name is Tashad Douglas, and I'm a writer. I'm also an actress, and I'm also a CEO of my own business, where I help actors and entrepreneurs build the confidence. And I'm also a part of this with Maria Dr. Mercy Road. I'm so excited to be a co-writer with her on this awesome project and to be a part of Constellation Incubator. So thank you for having me.
Hi, yeah, and I'm Maria, Doctor. I'm a filmmaker currently based out of Indiana. I was in Los Angeles for many years and was in the industry for quite a while. That a film student turned business affairs kind of person turned documentary filmmaker turned screenwriter. That's sort of been my journey. And circling back to my sort of producing roots at the moment, I'm diving in with Tasha and Marion, her mom, and our other story partner on starting preparing a Mercy Road for basically it's producing life as we speak. So I'm excited about that. Grateful to have been part of Constellation Incubator. It was a really confidence boost. It was inspiring. Gave me a lot of joy. And yeah, I hope anything I share today will be useful to someone else.
Lovely. Well, thank you for that segue, but I'm going to circle back and then re-segue. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Mercy Road? It's such an amazing project.
Thank you. Man, I was not exactly prepared, but I guess with logline, I'm going to see if I can pull it
It
up
doesn't
here.
have to be a professional. Just whatever you want to tell us.
I will quickly just say that it is a story that started with a question: how could a racist murder like Dylan Roof change? And it's become a story that really grapples with the question: how could a grieving mother whose son has been killed by someone like Dylan Roof basically overcome the insurmountable loss that she faced because of his actions and want to live and find joy and purpose again? That's really like kind of the purpose for the story, just grappling with those questions and also asking a question about mercy, which is hard. It's not something we talk about in the public sector very much. Whose life deserves to be spared, whether they deserve it or not. And the issue about the death penalty is very, just like simmering under the surface. And it's very hard to love someone like Dylan Roof, but it does ask a question about, people in prison and every moment along the way. Rose takes us on her journey. The main character, Rose, takes us on her journey of what ultimately leads to her healing. And hopefully when it's made, can find their own into that process, wherever it leads them.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see it. Could you describe your experience of being in Constellation Incubator, each of you?
Yes, I definitely was so appreciative to be a part of Constellation Incubator. One, just to connect with other creatives that's on the same journey of figuring out how can we get our movie out there, or more movies, out there on that screen, and in a community that was based on that had integrity. We were able to meet so many of our fellow groups because you broke us out in groups. And that was very fulfilling to me because I got to meet other people one-on-one. And I got to also get so many instrumental information from the other ones, the people that I was joined to as a group, and just the other group members as well, just far as what I may be missing with my particular project and what's missing in the world as well. You know, being able to come up with the concepts and build our own little incubator, you know, and going through that process, it did give me the realization of seeing specifically what are some of the missing links, where we have to come together, and most importantly, what is my part in that missing link? You know, if I was drawn to do anything differently. And I do say, me being inspired and being in the group, I was definitely elevated on a whole nother level, just to work on my project specifically, to get it out, to seek. I don't have all the answers yet, but just those questions of wanting to seek, you know, those missing pieces that were, you know, far as money, looking at a different avenue of how we can get sponsors. And it's not just always money, you know, the time, building that community. So I can go on and on probably this whole entire time of what I've gained, but those are some of the things I've gained from being in this process.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you for putting it together, and the other team members as well.
Yeah.
And that's a great reminder to me also to thank you, Naomi, and the other wonderful ladies, Liz, Abimi, and what can I think of the
Angela.
Angela, yes, for selecting us and for selecting our, I guess you weren't selecting the project, but selecting us to participate. It was a confidence boost just to get to participate and try to be a part of the solution, where maybe Tisha and I, in different ways, have had some challenges with the industry, you know. And you know, I physically left Hollywood, but I didn't want to entirely leave the industry, and in the process of getting to, again, be a part of the solution. And to the extent where we're even presenting solutions and just new ways of looking at the industry to the public, is definitely something I want to take with me, and I want to forget that. I do forget that I was a part of that in a way, and I don't want to, because it just the whole idea of being solutions minded, in that anything is possible, as long as alone it's not possible. Usually, sometimes it is, but usually impossible things are meant to be achieved, you know, with other people who care, you know, maybe have a different point of view, but all care about getting the same thing done. And so, yeah, being a student, like Tisha was saying, you know, learning different things, but also getting to contribute, a very empowering experience. And I'm still connected to at least one of the ladies in my group, and I want to check in. Each of them are special in their own unique way. And I'm thinking of one of my colleagues with her very creative, outgoing, she's an actress, expressive nature, you know, it brings the process again. It brought me a lot of joy in life. And so hope to recreate that somehow, or, you know, I don't know. It was really good.
Thank you for those answers. I feel very, very full. What is, in the months that have passed, what have been the key insights or takeaways that have kind of stuck with you?
I would say with me, one of the key takeaways that I got from just being in the incubator that I thought that I was thinking about, but just the audience, you know, not only just through the story, but how to involve them. You know, even I'm kind of thinking of the future, but in the future, when this movie possibly come out, what other things can we add value to our movie, or concepts around the movie, you know, to make them have a better experience. So thinking about that, you know, going into it, and also even involving the audience far as sponsors, you know what I mean? Or just as far as money and things, my mind definitely wasn't thinking of that before the incubator. So just again, there were so many good takeaways, but I think that those two things is what stuck with me the most, is involving the audience and how can I create a better experience through the movie, not only through the story, but once the movie is done as well. So, and I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting in these interviews how many people say that, and it's just so wild.
Oh,
It's like, what have we been doing? Like it's so, but it's so true. Like the film industry has gotten so disconnected from the people we're
yes,
making stuff for. It's
yes,
really interesting.
absolutely. Very valuable.
Yeah.
Since the Super Bowl is coming up, what you're saying, the audience, it reminds me of how involved football fans, I'm not really a football fan, but how involved they are, like almost the whole year, even when it's not in season, you know?
That's true.
And I do think one of the, this is not an original idea, I think one of the teams referenced, you know, like sports culture and being a fan of a group of people. Maybe it's a studio, maybe it's a little production company, but in a more, you know, just thinking different ways to, and you know, include their support, you know, be it like pay a subscription, you know, to this filmmaker collective and we'll make movies, you know. That's like a really generic example, but yeah, we're very isolated from our audience. I think that's a great point. And definitely those, were they called empathy interviews?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the empathy interviews was one of the ways that I first started reflecting on that, and the people I know and love and care about and didn't know the struggles maybe they had around going to see a movie in the theater, or just like how emotionally attached people are to certain movies or characters, and how they do, I'm just adding to what you're saying, want to be involved. Like if you see a very successful crowdfunding campaign, you know these people want to be involved. It's not just one kind of person, but every kind of person wants to be involved in something that means something to them. And you know, how do we tap into that desire to be included and part of a community and doing something meaningful together, you know, in a virtual world, in a kind of virtual world even.
Yeah. What you said about the football made me think too about how like many ways there are to participate. Like you can do your fantasy draft picks. I mean, I know nothing about football, so I'm totally talking out of my ass here. But I think you like you do fantasy draft picks. Like so, it's a participatory thing. It's not just that you're receiving stuff all season.
Yes, so true. And one
Um,
thing I just wanted to add, Naomi, you know, with the takeaway, the incubator itself and it just being a part of that process, just moving forward, if I'm doing any more writing or anything like that, that is something that I really felt that, like Doc said or Maria said, that it was a confident booster, you know, so the element of picking, you know, the energy, you know, picking someone else's brain, you know, getting someone else's insights and takes on their experience, you know, so just the incubator itself and that whole process of how you guys did everything. And I was like so committed. So I don't know if it was just you putting a spell on me. but but I was so committed to making sure that I showed up, and not just for myself, but for the team. And I was excited. So I just wanted to add that as well, that was so valuable to me.
Amazing. So glad. Um, is there any way in which you've started to apply ideas from the incubator to your work or plan to with the film as it moves forward? And the answer can be no.
I think, as I mentioned before, just the audience things, obviously, I'm going to apply that and have been applying that with the things that we're doing currently with Mercy Roll. But as we move on with the producer, getting someone to produce our film and, us make those selections, I think being in the incubator, the thing that I would like to apply is, just being more open-minded as far as finding that actress, that yes, we want someone well-known, but you guys open my mind to just being expanding when it comes to the budget as well. Of course, we want this big budget, but you've showed me and other people in the group have done smaller films with a low budget, but it can still have a high profit possibly, and the key is getting it out there to the right people. So if that's 10,000 people, that those were the people that were supposed to see your film. So, just hearing other people and applying those concepts and those strategies, to my film as I move forward, just being open-minded and expanding myself when it comes to all of those categories, because you guys touched on so many things, the money, the right, having the right mindset, community, the audience. It was just so many things that I'm definitely, like I said, open-minded to the way it comes to my projects, and not have this fixed sensation. I wanted to be this, I want this director, or I want this, so I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
And the question again was like how we're going to apply what we learned.
Yeah, just if there's anything that like you're specifically like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. How we have applied, I'm not sure how we have, envisioned, like Tasha said. One thing we did was create a list of, this is sort of the impact producing side in a way, and or prior to that, hopefully getting input on the script from certain stakeholders or expert advice, be that police and prison, guards, or mental health professionals, or sports people, or weather people, meteorologists, or, there's like a list. In the Belizean Americans I know, have tried to recruit to like come out on a certain character. Just the idea that at different stages in the process, we want certain, I don't know if stakeholders was the right word, but stakeholders who would potentially be part of our audience, but also could make it more authentic, would be included even before the film is made. And then after the film is made in like test screenings, and then once the film is like totally finished, even if it needs to be re-edited, then I'm just kind of seeing this right now, it would be really special to have screenings and Q&As in conversations, even with people from different backgrounds, that could be healing, for people. We learned of just one quick example. We learned that coincidentally, the specific parish that we chose, Lafayette, Louisiana, it turns out there was a Black police officer who took his own life, and the lead character's husband is a Black police officer who is not blue enough and not Black enough. And that's been an issue that it is just starting to come to the surface in the last year, especially in the last year or two. And so the idea of being able to provide something that like it extends beyond personal screening, but it like could honor, someone like that is definitely motivating. But it's inspired in part by the the work we did in the incubator, and then my part in the presentation, getting to think about the exhibition and creative ways to help people prime themselves, and then for the experience, and then maybe accommodating different needs, and then on the backside, giving people like a way to engage with one another and process what they've just experienced. If they want it to be by themselves, cool, but if they want it to be with others, I would love to actually like put my money where my mouth is and find a way to use some of those ideas.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to chat about moving into an RV and going and having those conversations around the country, boy, do I have some tips for you.
Really?
That's what we did with Bite Me.
Really?
I mean, our films were a little different. So mine was called The Joyful Vampire Tour of America. But
yeah, we
did 51 screenings in 40 cities in 90 days. And every one was like a community engagement event after. Again, the tenor would be different. However, we had some really interesting conversations with people around the country.
That's so cool.
Hey, ladies. Okay, I'm going to, if you can pause it.
Okay. We're back. Okay, so before I let you go, where can people find you and how can we support your work?
Well, well, far as me on any social media, Tasha Douglas really is Tasha. My name is pronounced Tasha, but it's pronounced Tasha Douglas on any social media. You can pretty much on Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. So anyone, my email is on there as well. So that's what people can reach me.
And I'm on Twitter at Fields O Plenty, as well as Instagram at Fields O Plenty. I'm also on Instagram at Maria Rose Doctor, and I'm on LinkedIn. So you can just search Maria Doctor there. Happy to connect.
And what can we do to support you, if anything?
Ooh, some nice little prayers or, good vibes for a project.
And if anyone would like to give money to your project,
if the project speaks to you, please reach out, and we'd love to have a conversation about however you would like to be involved.
Amazing. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. This is great.